fine. Yep. Good. Right at the beginning of the part, literally as we click start, you just started thumping your mic.
Sorry.
People are really going to enjoy that. Headphone listeners click on our fucking thing and it's boom, 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 boom. Immediately.
Yeah. I need to think about a way to do that because we have a bit of a preamble. People who click on the podcast on Spotify are probably really confused. Like we just chat shit for about 2 minutes and then we start the show. Whereas on YouTube we have timestamps, so it's like, oh, I'm just going to skip to the intro if people just want to get on with the show, you know. So
yeah,
I used to trim it, but it's quite a bit of extra work. So I'm going to mess around and see what options there are.
Yeah, and I saw your messages about that stuff. I have been meaning to do it, but yeah, just in all honesty, I kind of actually forgot about it as well. But I think even if I didn't forget about it, I wouldn't have really had the time recently. So, but
well, if we need to, we'll just take an evening and sit down. We'll just do it together. 20 minutes shouldn't take long. Was it 20 minutes? You know?
Yeah, no, it shouldn't take long. But yeah, cool. Let's do that.
Yeah, no worries, man. Okay, well, just to brief you, I guess it's been a real quiet week on the Xbox front. So we've got a bit of general news you've probably heard about. The Red Dead stuff, fucking ridiculous. I did want to talk about Baldur's Gate a little bit again because that's just continuing to pop off, isn't it?
Yeah, shit's going nuts.
Bit of Forza news, but mostly I want the show to be focused on Avowed.
Funny enough, I've caught absolutely no glimpse of anything about this week, so I don't even know what we're going to be talking about. Somehow that's eluded me completely. So
buckle in, you're in for a good show.
Yeah, but yeah, we are.
You, dear listener, but also you, Tim, my co-host.
Yeah, I am the dear listener this week.
That's right. That's what makes it so special. Okay, let's do it. Let's jingle. Let's get cracking. Oh, I didn't share us on socials. That's fine.
I'm ready to go.
Yes, we are jingling. Yeah. Okay, fuck Jesus. Hi everyone. Welcome to episode 109 of the Quick Resume podcast. 109. Can you believe that?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. If you haven't been here before, hi. We're an Xbox podcast, a big surprise. My name's Deck. That's Tim over there.
Hello. Hello.
And we have a little bit of news today. It's a little bit quiet. It's loosey-goosey. It's a loosey-goosey episode. We all know it's your favourite sort of episode from the QRP. You know, you don't need to tell us. You don't need to pat us on the back. You don't need to pay us money. You don't need to send us any cars.
Yeah, but if you were to do that, here are our bank details. And here are our
It's a PO box, yeah. Yeah. And also, like, you don't have to go to my wish list, which you can find in the description below, Amazon wish list, and order stuff from there. You don't have to, but if you want to, you know. No, you don't have to. It's fine. But it is there in the description.
Yeah, it's there. Just if you're curious.
Yeah, if you want to know what I need, you just like absurdly expensive and unnecessary stuff.
Yeah,
like a $3,000 whisk.
Yeah, like that Apple VR headset thing.
But mostly, you know, it was a bit of a briefing, everyone. Big titles. Avowed was multiplayer. It was a multiplayer game before the Xbox acquisition. That's coming off the back of co-op. Yeah, that's right. Well, we don't know how far it goes.
Different to multiplayer, right?
I think generally, I think that's how we use the lingo. But so possibly co-op. Stalker 2 might have had its release date leaked this year.
Oh, no way.
And there's a bit of Forza Motorsport controversy, or is there? You know, we'll talk about that. And then there's just bits and bobs of other stuff. What the fuck are Rockstar doing? Hey, what are they up to? Idiots. You know how to run a business? You contact me. Look, I'm a very successful podcast runner, me. Look at all this 109 episodes.
Not a single hitch.
We've never had a hitch.
Yeah.
No. And quality is 10 out of 10. This is a commercially viable podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all of that and more, you know. So we'll hope you're here to stay. If you're here and you're listening and you're live, pop off in chat. Let us know how you're doing, what you're playing. If you're listening in Spotify, you know, after the Sunday that we film, hi, hope you're doing well. This is deck from the past. If I could remind you, give us a rating on Spotify, give us a like on YouTube while you're here. It really helps us out. So, with that all said and done, Tim, how's the gamer brain? How is the Xbox shaped lobe in your skull? How's that doing?
That lobe has been it hasn't been very active this week. I've had a lot of life things going on this week, so it hasn't been the most active. What have I played? Obviously, I think we did a bit of Remnant between this and last week. We completed it, didn't we? We finished it. Great game.
Yes.
Yeah,
we did.
Fantastic game. Still playing it. Obviously, I haven't hopped on in a few days. But obviously, you all know how we feel about Remnant. Yeah, pretty fantastic. I'm still at the stage where I don't think I can give it a rating because I've completed it and seen the credits roll, I don't think it's that kind of game. But you know, if I were to slap a number on it right now, I'd probably easily give it a 9.
I'd give it a 9.
Yeah, so that's been going great. I also hopped on and actually played like a few rounds. I think probably about an hour of Killer Instinct as well. When we got that on download.
Lovely. I nearly did. I didn't get around to it.
It was good. Yeah, I mean, I played it with Caden, who is our resident fighting game main in the group, and he kind of handed me my ass consistently.
So you lost for an hour straight.
Yeah, and claimed that he didn't know what to do. The worst thing is, though, is what I find fun about fighting games and why I like playing them with you especially, is you both just fuck around and you learn at a similar pace. But, like, Caden was just doing stuff and handing me my ass, and I was like, what button does that? And I just got nothing. It was just silence, and all I heard was button, man. He was just beating the crap out of me. And I was like, help me out, man. I don't even know what's going on. Have I dropped connection right now?
I'm not sure if it's you or me.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
you are
I'm
dropping
back.
a little bit.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, and he's literally just doing all this shit, and I was like, oh, what is that? How did you do that? How did you move into like you know when you go all like dark in that game and everything starts to like blur and then you like combo the crap out of people? I was like, what button does that? Just nothing. Just clicks and heavy breathing.
Next round.
Yeah.
Next round.
And I was literally just like, okay, all right, great. But it was fun, man. Yeah, Killer Instinct is pretty good. And surprisingly, it actually holds up still, like graphically and stuff like that. It does. You can tell it is a bit dated, but I feel like it really shines in its like. It's still got nice particle effects, and when the game's in movement, it actually still looks good. But when the characters are kind of standing still, or you're picking the characters, you can see they're graphically actually not that impressive. But in motion,
I just love the roster. I love the roster for that game.
I mean, I think
it's so fun.
I picked between I was like a weird mummy man with wraps, undead mummy
man. I saw mummy man,
and I also played a velociraptor with rockets attached to him. And I also played
hell yeah,
an undead weird samurai lady. So quite a versatile cast.
Is she the one with her like back snapped? And she
and she's all creepy. Yeah, and she moves in really jittery, fast ways. Yeah. So that scary, so it's a good versatile cast. I will give it that. But yeah, just playing that is also just sort of edged me on to want to play Mortal Kombat again, which I actually jumped on and played a little bit of practice mode on, because I'm quite looking forward to the new MK1. I tend to play the story and a decent amount of most of the MK game, actually all of the MK games since I think Mortal Kombat 8. I think I've actually bought.
Yes, same actually. I think.
Yeah, so I just like the franchise. I just like the characters and stuff like that. And yeah, it looks baller, man. They recently did a trailer.
It does look good.
And did you see the Reptile trailer where they showed off Reptile in that game?
I did. He like half transforms in his moves.
Yeah, he looks so fucking cool. Yeah, he actually looks rad. He might be the character I go with. I'm not sure. It's a toss up between like him, Smoke, and some other new character. I forgot her name now, but yeah.
There is only Rain. There's only Rain.
Yeah, Rain looks sick in that game as well. They've made him look so cool. He's got like a staff.
It's like a mincy little sorcerer. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, he looks cool as fuck. So yeah, that's basically been my game brain. A little bit of fighting, a little bit of Remnant,
Nice.
but yeah, not too much gaming this week. Life's kind of got in the way there. So
Oh
yeah,
man.
what about you?
I tell you, it's so fucked up that Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out on September 19th. Like, it's
I
just not fucking
I was
right.
saying this to you though. I don't mind it, like, because I think Starfield we're getting on Games Pass. We're not dropping £70 on Starfield. It makes me feel less bad about dropping 65, 70 on Mortal Kombat, and I think that it will be a nice change to just play Starfield loads, and we're loving it. We're consuming the shit out of it. I think it might just be quite nice to just hop on and play a few rounds of Mortal Kombat every now and again, just like a completely different game sort of thing.
Yeah, I
I,
get it.
I
I
I
get
don't
it.
think it's the worst thing in the world. I think sometimes just playing only one game 10 hours a day, all day, every day can be a bit much. Although Starfield definitely is that kind of game. But
Yeah, I get it. It's just I have this problem with fighting games. I think just by nature of like they have very high skill ceilings, and honestly, their skill floors aren't that low either. Where they are a bit of a time commitment. Like
yeah.
I just kind of play through the story, I suppose, which could be a nice distraction. But yeah, it's why I'm finding it quite difficult to. I downloaded Killer Instinct and I definitely want to give it a go, but I'm like quite hesitant to like get involved in a fighting game right now because it's like oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like you have to learn a lot, and it's like fuck. I'm learning. My brain is at capacity.
Mm,
You
I think
know,
that's
I'm like my brain. You know when you like fill a glass up and you keep going, and then there's like a little lip of water that's like
yeah.
above the glass, and you're like, how the fuck is that happening? That's me. That's
So
what I'm asking myself constantly.
you think MK1 might just start pouring that glass over, and then
Yeah,
God forbid, everything just falls
maybe.
out.
But it looks great. You know, MK1 looks great. It's one of the 8 games this year that I will play. When that is, I don't know. You know, maybe you're right. You know, because honestly, I'm edging closer and closer to buying the upgrade for Starfield. Every day that passes, I
Oh
feel
yeah.
it in my gut. Like my gut swells with like envy, and it's like, man, I could play it on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and then I work Monday to Wednesday. You know, and then it's just that would be nice. So I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. Especially if it reviews very, very well and there's a lot of hype over it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
My gamer brain, Tim, has been a bit scattered this week. I think I said to you, I'm between semesters at uni, so I've got a bit more time than usual. That's not saying much, but I've been hopping on a few things. So I was playing a little bit of Remnant, and then I thought, I'm gonna play some other stuff. I played some Halo Infinite, Tim. It's
Oh
having a bit of a resurgence at the moment. I think I said to you last week. It's
yeah. Popping off.
gaining a lot of traction. It's gaining a lot of traction, especially in the face of 2 mainstream shooters that are really struggling at the moment, being Overwatch and
Apex, Warzone, Fortnite,
Destiny.
Destiny.
Apex is struggling a bit, but when we say that, it's not really struggling. There's just a bit of bad, the player counts are fantastic, so it's not really a problem. But Destiny as well, people are pretty pissed about. I'm sure there's another one that I can't think of. So in the face of that, essentially they just did a small August like quality of life update that came with a remade Reach map and a bunch of updates. But it kind of just came out of nowhere, and it just kind of came at the right time and had people saying it's like, oh, well, here's Halo, like just dropping updates like out of nowhere. Like it wasn't a seasonal update or anything. It was just a here you go. And it's just full of stuff, including a map. So, and it's a good time, Halo Infinite. But I don't know what else to say. It feels smoother and smoother every time I go back and play it. It's just good. Like I'm glad they've gotten into the swing of stuff. There's so many modes now. There's like I think they've added like 20 maps now.
Oh wow.
Since launch, which is crazy if you consider we had 2 in 1 year, and now we're a year and maybe 20 months in now, and we're up to 20 maps. So there's a really popular. There's a really popular new mode called Squad Battle, which is 8v8, so it's not quite BTB, but it's a bit bigger than Slay. It feels a bit more casual, a bit less sweaty. There's quite a few Forge maps. Most of them are great. Just feels good, man. And I can go between my battle passes. I can choose what I want to level up.
That is good.
I think going on at the moment, yeah, it's just nice. It's a nice user game to hop back into. I still think it feels great. I still think it needs a bit more work, but if they keep this momentum going, I could see it starting to gain some traction back. I think, like we said, Summit is playing it at the moment. Who's the other guy? One of the big COD YouTubers had made a video about it the other day about like Infinite having a comeback or something. So keep going, guys. That change of management seems to be paying off. Whatever you're doing. So
definitely, yeah, keep going.
I also played a bit of Quake 2. Quake 2 Remastered came out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I played the first one when the first Quake Remaster came out like last year, just a little bit. I just find it really interesting playing these old boomer shooters because I never played them at the time. And man, it really holds up. I mean, obviously it's been upscaled and everything, but it like looks quite good and it plays very well. It almost had a bit of a Remnant twinge to it when I was playing through. There were like secrets in secrets sort of thing going on. It's like you find a crack in a wall, you'd break the wall open, you'd find a weapon, and then there's a hole in the corner. You go in the hole, and there's a secret level, and then you do a secret level, and you get a secret weapon. It's like, oh my Jesus!
Yeah, jeez, man, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, because it was before my time. It almost feels a little bit educational, and obviously, I want to kind of familiarize myself with the IP, just on the odd chance that id is doing a reboot. So, that was really fun to just hop into. I just did the first couple of levels on that.
Nice.
I've been playing A Way Out with my wife. Have you played that? A Way Out?
I haven't. No, that's the like the 2-player co-op, like prison escape game or something. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I think Ben's played that with Ali, and they said they actually really enjoyed it. So yeah,
it's the same devs as It Takes Two. Hazel Light was their game before It Takes Two, I think. Yeah, it's good. It's I'm enjoying it so far as well. It's you can tell the team learned a lot from that game going into It Takes Two, but it's just I like these kind of co-op dedicated experiences, and Hazel Light are really good at them. So
they are.
Forza Studio. And finally, can you believe this? How many games has that been playing?
Man.
I know. Well, I haven't played them for a long time. I've just been bouncing between a few things.
Spend any time with your kid this week, or?
Yeah, well, he's crawling, so I don't have a choice. He comes to me whether I want him or not. And yeah, I went back and started playing Hogwarts Legacy again. I thought I've got about 3 weeks before Starfield. I'm going to go back and I'm going to see what damage I can do to that game, because I started up a while back and I had a good time, and something distracted me. I can't remember what it was. Might have been Overwatch. I can't remember. But it's a good game, man. All I will say, I was moaning about this to Beth. Like, those characters in that game do not shut the fuck up. Like, oh my God, they just go on and on. It's like, please. Yeah. And it's like, I think it gives us a bad reputation as Brits, because I can imagine a lot of Americans, or really just any other nationality, sitting there being like, oh, why don't you go and get me a watermelon? Like, and they just won't shut up. It's like, let me go and fucking cast Incendio and Flipendo on like spiders and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk to you for 6 hours about a bug that flies or turns into a candle. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's so they're giving off this whole Hogwarts like student like whimsical vibes, isn't it? Where some people just want to skip all that shit and just blow shit up, bombard us and stuff.
And don't get me, and don't get me wrong. Like, I really like the world of Hogwarts, so I like it when it's doing it well. I'm like quite into it, but there's a lot of like side things where you meet a new character, and it's like, oh, I'm a Hufflepuff, and I fucking love donkeys and
I love creatures.
Hippogriffs.
Yeah.
Oh, so good for you. Yeah, like great, good shit.
And then they force
I'm
it
literally
on
casting ancient magic.
They're like, help me save the animals. It's like, do it yourself, man. I got shit to do.
Yeah. I'm literally new here. I'm like a new student. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like on the brink of a panic attack. I'm like, please. So yeah, I do like it though. Overall, it's I think it's fun. I think the combat's really fun. I think that's part of why I find it a bit frustrating, because it's when it's actually clicking all at once. It's really enjoyable. Very pretty as well. Very pretty game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I really enjoyed my playthrough of Hogwarts as well. Yeah, it's really good.
Hell yeah. So that's been me. Nothing else.
Oh wow, just the 5 then.
Just the 5, yeah, just the 5. So we'll start with the honorable mentions for this week, Tim. Last week we spoke about a bit of a panic. There's a bit of a panic going on in the Xbox community at the moment, and I'm sympathetic. This idea that there's not all that much marketing for Starfield right now. I don't know. It's I don't feel like that's really changed from last week. It's okay. It's on Lucasade bottles here in the UK. It's on the occasional YouTube ad. But it hasn't been kicked into high gear yet. I'm not seeing it like every time I load up a YouTube video. I'm not seeing it in trailers, stuff like that. So I mean, has that changed for you at all, or is that still a
No,
bit?
I think I agree. I feel like it's still at the stage where, yeah, I feel like they are going to ramp it up, but it hasn't happened yet. I don't know when this typically tends to happen with big video game releases. Like, I'm not sure when the whole trend of ramping up the marketing, like when God of War started to really ramp up, and
Yeah.
Ragnarok and stuff like that. I don't know if it was like a month before release or a couple weeks or something. So I don't know if Starfield are doing it too late or but I definitely feel like they could do more. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? There was a similar thing that was being said around the God of War Ragnarok time. A lot of people were saying around the time of where's the marketing, and then it kicked in the final
There
week
was
or
so
two.
much of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it lingered afterwards as well, which I think is quite interesting. Like on my drive to the city, there was a massive billboard plastered on the side of a giant building, like a massive one, like you couldn't miss it. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. I've never seen anything like that for a game.
Mm.
So I think it's probably on track. It's probably going to ramp up. As far as I know, review codes haven't gone out yet.
Mm.
You'll be happy to know I have applied for one.
Nice.
I'm very, very hopeful, So, yeah, I reckon when those codes go out, that's when the marketing kicks in, which probably is this week or next. But it is quite funny because the Xbox Series X subreddit, and actually just generally a lot of the Xbox community threads just on the internet, regardless of where you go, I'm seeing so many posts pop up like, I've just bought an Xbox Series X for Starfield. What should I play in the meantime? I've seen so many of those
Yeah.
posts, and I think that's quite interesting. Like, I think it's working. I think the Starfield hype is working.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I can definitely see a lot of console purchases going up in preparation for Starfield. Yeah. Which is quite funny because you think a lot of people would still wait for reviews, and I think majority of people would. But I think, like you said, with stock being what it is, I mean, stock seems to be fine in the UK, but being what it is everywhere else, I think people are kind of just grabbing one as and when they can, with the anticipation that Starfield will be a banger, rather than obviously waiting for the reviews. Have they said when the embargo actually lifts? Like a week before release, like 2 weeks before release, 10 days? No, they haven't given any indication.
Nah, we don't know. I mean, I would like to think that they're going to give reviewers somewhere between 10 and 14 days to review the game, because obviously it's fucking huge. They keep saying it's fucking huge, and
Yeah.
it would not only be a bit dodgy, I think it would be a bad indication for the game if they didn't give reviewers enough time with it. So, if we're looking at reviews will be out before early access, which is the 1st of September, which is just under 3 weeks from now. So I reckon they go out in the next few working days. And then reviews probably lift 26th, maybe 25th of August, something around that time.
Oh, you really think it's that early? Because doesn't it release on the 6th?
Release on the 6th, but it's early access on the 1st, so reviews will be
out.
Oh,
yeah, I always forget about that. Yeah, reviews will need to be out before that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Makes sense.
So, yeah, it does depend. And like I remember, like God of War, for example, and I don't mean to keep making everything a God of War comparison, but it's just thing I can think of. They had the embargo lifted really early for that game. It was like a full week or like maybe 10 days. I remember like the scores were just out in the open for a week before the game went
Yeah.
live, which was really obviously positive for the game. It felt like, but at the same time, Bethesda do have a bit of a history of lifting embargoes a bit later. So yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, tangentially from that topic, we're starting to see some Starfield ads from Samsung for cloud. So, some Samsung are themselves marketing their own cloud service on their smart TVs for Starfield. You know, they're essentially giving Starfield free marketing because they want people in the service or playing Game Pass on their TVs, and they're saying, "Oh, look at this banger coming out."
Yeah. That's good.
What do you think? What do you think about the uptake for that? Like, how many people are going to be buying Starfield on this, or buying Game Pass on their Samsung TV? What do you think?
I think it's. I think it'll be quite low. I think it's a very,
Yeah,
very, very small percentage because, I mean, it's just whether you're ignorant to gaming or not. I feel like you could probably figure out that playing a game like that on streaming it and playing it from your TV is not going to be the best way to play that game. So I feel like naturally it's just going to be lower for the sake of that. I feel like you might get a few for people who didn't even realize it was a thing on their TV. You know, they might just be like, "Oh, I have that TV. I didn't know you could even do that. That's pretty cool." You know,
yeah,
that sort of
yeah.
thing. But I don't think people are actively just like, "I'm going to go out and buy a Samsung TV and prep for Starfield." No,
Yeah,
that's not happening.
because even then you need a controller, right? I think you can do it on a PlayStation controller or an Xbox controller. I think both work. But in that case, I don't know if I just feel if someone's willing to make that sort of preparation, they'd be willing to get Series S or
Yeah,
the Xbox.
exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a minute percentage. I'd say it's in the 0.0 maybe even like maybe like under 1%.
Yeah, it's just also like Starfield doesn't strike me as the type of game you want to play on cloud. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but you know, I think there are a collection of games which could be really appealing on Game Pass, and someone could just connect the controller and be like, "Oh yeah, I could play like Monster Train or Slay the Spy." You know, that seems perfect. You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I think Starfield would be awful. I think there'll be some segments of the game where it's quite slow and a bit exploration heavy. I can't imagine the combat being like crazy intense every single encounter. So I feel like it's something you could play on like your like Kishi or something like that, or something portable. Like I don't think it's the. I think there are a lot worse games out there. You know, like I know for one, they always have, for some reason, they have like all the fighting games on there. They're like, play Guilty Gear, play Mortal Kombat, like stream it, Games Pass. Just like, who's doing that, man? You need every you need every frame in a fighting game. Ain't nobody out there streaming that.
I don't like torturing myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
no torture for me. And that would be like one of those advanced torture techniques, wouldn't it?
Or play a fighting
get
game.
Someone to fucking
someone who loves fighting games as well. Yeah, somebody like lives and breathes them, like forcing them only to play cloud and stream it.
Yeah, and occasionally like the screen refreshes while they're like mid combo. God, it would just
that's
cause an aneurysm on the spot. Yeah. So yeah, interesting little badger that. Second honorable mention for today, Tim, is the whole Red Dead story. Do you know what this is? You heard of this Red Dead story?
No, what's going on?
Man, like this is mental. So you've probably seen the news for a while that like there was a anticipated Red Dead 1 remake coming. Yeah, you must have seen that.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. Turns out, wasn't a fucking remake, Tim. You'll never guess what they're doing, what these cheeky fucks are doing, right? Rockstar are porting Red Dead Redemption,
okay,
not remastering, porting Red Dead Redemption 1 to the PS4 and to the Switch.
What?
Because it was a PS3 and a 360 game. So they're porting it to PS4.
It was that long ago.
Switch.
That's fucking stupid.
and they're selling it for $50. You might be asking, yeah, oh, it's not free. Yeah, I should have mentioned
What?
that.
That's crazy. Oh my
And you
god.
might be thinking, why is it not getting ported to Xbox? What's that about? Well, in 2016, Xbox sat Rockstar down. Then they were like, "Can we have Red Dead Redemption in our backwards compatibility, catalog?"
Hmm.
They signed that signature. Fucking idiots. And now we've already got a backwards compatible 4K upscaled, more consistent frame rate version of Red Dead 1. So you don't need to buy it. It's already done for an
Wow.
Xbox.
That's it. That's ridiculous, dude.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
I mean, we've seen that happen a lot with Switch games, to be fair. Like a lot of old games do get ported, put onto Switch, and then they kind of do charge you 50 quid because it's the whole moving it onto Switch and playing it anywhere
It's the
sort of
Switch,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, so like are fine, like they did it with like Darksiders 2 and stuff like that, like these sort of games,
Yeah.
and they charge you 50 quid for it, whatever. I guess it's technically you can play it anywhere, whatever. It was quite hard to port over there. But the fact that they're charging for a PS4 port, that's absurd to me. Like that is absolutely
So
mental,
weird.
especially when Xbox already have it free and backwards compatible. Like
It's crazy.
that's absolutely nuts to me.
It's such a strange use
Why
of
as well?
resources, especially coming off the back of the GTA trilogy, that was just the laziest piece of shit.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not sure. Are they aware how much money they could make with like a proper remake? I know that's a lot more work, but if they
yeah.
just didn't do the GTA trilogy, didn't do this stupid fucking port, and they just put all that time and resources together to just make a proper remake of just one of those games, guarantee that would have
Oh mate, everyone would have
flown off the
fucking
shelves.
lapped up a
Yeah.
resident help me, a Red Dead
What are
Redemption,
you trying to say? Oh,
a Red Dead
God.
Redemption remake. They would have absolutely lapped that shit up, dude. Like, oh
Yeah.
my god,
Yeah.
not even close. Dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so dumb. It's such a
So
dumb
dumb.
business decision. Like, I just don't understand. It's such a waste of time as well. It's just like it can't be that many resources to port something over. Like, are you really losing like money on this if you just make it free? Like, we're porting it to PlayStation. It's great standing for your company as well. I mean, Rockstar are fucking rolling it anyway. Let's be honest.
It's just so
Like,
weird.
everyone's out there buying shark cards these days. Like, absolutely, you don't need to
I don't
charge
know,
money
man.
for this.
That company is just on a knife's edge to me. I know, not in like the financial way, because of that GTA 5 has made such a stupid amount of money, and yeah, they're still
Yeah.
making money from GTA Online, and Red Dead Online, I'm sure as well, is still earning money. But like, if they have one, like, the thing that's keeping them together is the fact that they consistently make really excellent new single player games. These open world, really innovative, technical and systemic open world games. Yeah, like, if they bungle that,
Mm.
like, I don't know what happens then. Like, so they better fucking nail it. Whatever GTA 6 is.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, because they kind of had a few bad beats recently, haven't they? So their next sort of mainline project or whatever, there's only so many chances even a very established company will get. It's,
yeah,
it's similar to like CD Project Red, right? Like everyone's golden boy. Everyone, oh, they can't do any wrong. My God, did people throw him under the bus after Cyberpunk? Jesus Christ. It was
yeah, that's right.
immediate.
Yeah,
They just went from fucking hero to zero. Obviously they're,
yeah,
they're they're still up there. It takes a few burns for people to throw away a company like that, but yeah, it shifts pretty quick. So yeah, there's quite a lot of pressure for them on GTA 6, definitely.
yeah. It's a death by a thousand cuts sort of thing. It feels like. And if they miss the single player, I think their reputation will just go down the toilet.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah.
Next up, man, this is a fucking weird one. This is Nintendo doing some Nintendo-ass Nintendo shit.
All right.
They're trying to patent some of the Tears of the Kingdom mechanics. And I've got a link here. I'm just going to open this up so I don't get this wrong. But from what I can understand, the thing that Nintendo are trying to patent is the laws of physics.
Oh, is this just a Kotaku article or is this actually legit? Because Kotaku can be very
Yeah.
weird
No,
sometimes.
this is legit. Yeah, open it up, maybe share it on screen. Because if you scroll down to that diagram, it's actually really fucking funny. It's like a really funny little diagram. I don't know. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, he's this little bird boy in the middle. Is that Link?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's meant to be Link. Sorry,
No,
I think my music just started playing.
Oh,
Can you hear it?
No, I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, I've just turned it down. I think it's just accidentally been turned on.
That's all right. No worries. What is going on here? Nintendo registering new several parts that are extremely broad.
Turns out it's a van outside.
Oh, okay, nice.
Sorry, Beth, I wasn't accusing you. It was just it sounded like I was accusing my wife of playing music too loud there, but it was very confusing. All right, yeah. So, where is it? Yeah. So, just to read like part of it here, one of the hopeful patents relates to the physics of a character riding on top of a moving vehicle and reacting dynamically to it in a realistic manner. Yeah, then this one, Link and the objects he rides on move together at the same speed, rather than Link being technically stationary on top of a moving object, as it is common in the physics of other games. That is fucking, what are you on about? What are you on about?
Yeah.
Do you think has there never been a system where we stand on top of a thing while the thing is moving and we move at the same speed as the thing?
That happens in a lot of games.
Happens in a lot of games, yeah.
I can just think immediately, like the sand skiff in Gears 5.
Yeah, the sand skiff.
Did they not patent? They should have patented it, dude. And then Zelda wouldn't have been able to use it.
This is fucked up. I hope this shit gets just wiped and they get like a giant bucket of shit thrown at them, because this is messed up. I don't know why we're allowed to patent creative mechanics like it. It reminds me of the Shadow of Mordor thing, you know. Great, now nobody can use that ever, and they're not using it because they're fucking useless. Thanks, Warner Bros. Good shit.
Yeah,
the Nemesis system.
Yeah, that is so stupid. I don't know, but like, what? I just don't understand. Like, how's that even gonna work? And then if it does happen, what, people just can't have people sitting on moving vehicles anymore?
I don't know what they want. And like, look at this as well, like including Riju's lightning ability. What the fuck are you talking about? How is that? And for those that don't know, you have this companion, you click on them and a circle extends outwards from where you're standing to indicate the range of the lightning. And then you shoot someone with an arrow that's within the range of that growing circle and they get struck by lightning. It's not like a novel mechanic. It's like, I don't know. It just feels like they're sat in the office, like jerking each other off. Like, what an innovative feature that was.
We are God in this situation. Yeah.
We made this. It's like that. Have you seen that drawing of that thing where he's like, somebody has the box and he's like, I made this, and he gives it to the other stick man, and then he leaves, and the stick man's like, I made this.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. That's pretty spot on. Yeah.
You did not come up with this. Yeah, it's just weird, man. There's other shit down here as well about the loading screen. Nintendo seeks to patent the loading screen that shows up when the player is fast traveling across Hyrule. This specifically refers to the screen that shows the map transition from the player's starting point to their destination.
What?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, is that not like, does GTA not do that when it zooms out the map and then pops you in a different position? Like,
yeah, I was just thinking, and I feel like I've seen another game that does that as well. What does it?
I'm sure Division does that.
It might be in Division, yeah. Yeah, because it starts and it zooms in on you. Yeah. How weird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been done before, but
I mean, I don't know how this works across like other mediums and like film and stuff. But But this just seems weird to me. You know, it would be like patenting an establishing shot in cinema. You know, no zoomed out shots are allowed. It's like, it's so weird to me. I get that you can patent the technology in cameras
Mm.
that and stuff like that, but it doesn't make sense to be doing it in games, because the thing about games is that they're kind of an intersection of art and tech. Like, they're fundamentally tech. So if we're just patenting stuff, you're essentially patenting art. And it's like,
Yeah.
what? And it comes back to me whinging about competition again, and the whole thing that's going on with ABK. It's like, can you go after this, please? The stuff where people are trying to get a chokehold over gameplay mechanics that we never see again. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a chokehold on innovation, and like,
Yeah, and it's
really
definitely
frustrating.
not consumer beneficial, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I remember, and I can see the article mentions it here, and I'm glad they did, because I was going to forget. Is when Bandai Namco had a patent on loading screen mini games
Oh, really?
until 2015. It ended, yeah. And I remember thinking that, because I remember when me and you used to play the Dragon Ball Z game. What was it on the 360? Was it
Oh,
the fighting
what
game?
was it? The Budokai games?
Maybe Budokai, yeah. And you could, you know, spin the stick around, and the little the cell, the mini cells, like the plant boys, would like sprout up over the screen. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
They're like
yeah,
dots.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
I
remember
remember
thinking,
this.
like, this is so fun. Well, obviously we were like 8 and like fumed up on like sugar and shit. But I was like, this is so fun. Why does no other game do this? And I learned it's because they fucking patented it. They patented shit like that.
God,
It's like,
that's nuts. I had no idea that was even a thing. Love me
yeah.
a loading screen minigame. It's a game within a game,
Oh,
man. It's perfect.
I love that. They're so good. You need to wait, play a game. That's fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thanks Nintendo. Go fuck yourself.
Basically, yeah.
So this is a bit of in our last honorable mention for today. Our old friend, the ABK deal. New Zealand has cleared. Always like you guys. Always like New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand,
Top
a
blokes,
bunch of boys.
bunch of boys.
Love them.
So actually, and as a sort of side note here, we were meant to hear from the CMA on Friday about what their preliminary decision was, and that hasn't happened. So they've missed a deadline for whatever reason. Maybe they're fucking drunk again.
Probably.
You know, just smoking some of the wacky backy, you know,
Smoking the hopium.
huffing on that. So this week, probably early in the week, we should find out what their preliminary decision was. Though that doesn't mean anything these days, because last time they said, yep, this will be fine. And then they blocked it out of nowhere. So, you know, who fucking knows? But,
Yeah,
but whatever,
exactly.
we'll have more information this week. And we are still in the end game because it needs to close by the end of August, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Good.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
Moving
Good.
forward.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Big boy news stories. Let me just double check the chat. Timmer mentioned about Rockstar Games having a bad culture, and he had heard it from a dev who had spoken to a few former Rockstar devs. Yeah, we'd. I think, is that public knowledge? I feel like that's it's been kind of known that Rockstar's had a bit of a bad environment for a while, but it's getting better. I might be misremembering, but
quite a lot of companies have that these days.
Yeah, I don't know what's that about. And I just got reminded as well. Tim, can you just hit our jingle for a second? So, lovely listeners, the jingle you hear at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show and right now. Oh, listen to that. Oh, wow. Oh, that's got a nice bit of zest to it.
Yeah, I really
that's
like
nice.
it.
I can't hear it. I can't hear it right now. I'm assuming. I know what it's. Anyway, not important. My good friend. I'm not sure. Yeah, my good friend, Roscoe Fox. That's his. Is his star name. You know, he's a superstar. Has made that for us. Right. He's released a new single recently, so I'm just giving a bit of a plug here. He's in the description if you want to go check him out. There's a link to Spotify. I'd advise it. He does some experimental stuff. I'm into it. but he's a very talented man.
He is indeed. Big ups. He made a good jingle for us, so I can't complain.
I can't complain. So just wanted to put that out there. Okay. If you're still with us, haven't liked yet, please do so. Tim?
Yes.
What's your favourite sauce? I've been thinking about this a lot recently. It's been on my mind.
I don't know, man. What constitutes a sauce over a condiment?
That's a good question. Yeah. Oh,
like
fucking
it
hell.
could mayonnaise be included in this? Could
yes.
I mean, I'd say if I'm honest, and what I use the most and put on a lot of things, and I mix with other things, it's probably.
Oh, you're gonna say Frank's,
Frank's Red Hot, dude. Love it. That or a bit of Nando's. A bit of Nando's medium. You know, chuck that in everything.
Nando's medium. Yeah. Yeah, they do good sauces.
Awesome ketchup mayonnaise.
And I don't know if ketchup mayonnaise. Oh hell yeah, I love that shit.
It's in every Hello Fresh.
Yeah, no, it is. What's the Korean barbecue sauce called? God damn it. Bulgogi.
Oh.
Bulgogi.
That is pretty good. Yeah.
I love bulgogi, dude.
Bulgogi is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, Korean barbecue dish. Bulgogi means fire meat. Go.
That's ridiculous. Is it fire meat here?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Well, that's interesting, Frank's. Yeah, and I guess because for our international audience, maybe who doesn't know what Nando's is Nando's a Europe thing? I think it's like a Europe thing, right? It's not like
I think so.
America.
I think so.
How would you describe a Nando's medium? What's the?
It's pretty
okay.
It's quite a tangy sort of zesty kind of vibe to it, innit? Yeah. But it's got a decent kick, you know, like you eat it and you're like, ooh, it builds. Ooh, by the end of your meal, all your lips are smacking, but it's not too hot. It's not like blow your face off hot. And it's very, I don't know how to describe the taste.
It's quite Moorish.
It's very Moorish, yeah. And mate, you mix that shit up with some mayo and make yourself a Pyrenees.
Oh, yes.
Fuck
yes,
dude. Best thing to dunk your chips in on planet Earth. Just the best.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Peak.
It's I don't know what that's about. What is it about with like hot sauce? Like you need to have more hot sauce to soothe the hotness of the hot sauce. Like what's that about?
I don't know.
That feels like some sort of mega brain design from the hot sauce makers.
Yeah, they're probably going to patent it. So gotta watch out.
Probably get what? Patent it. Oh right. Yeah. Well, it's like what is it? The like energy drinks, like glucose drinks. It's the same thing, isn't it? They purposefully make it like tart. So that it dries your mouth and makes you want to have more, even though and they claim, it just makes you drink it quicker, so it hydrates you quicker. But it's like, this is some ethically dubious behavior, you know.
So it's pretty sussy, pretty backerish, if you ask me. But yeah, I know what you mean. About the hot sauce thing, yeah, and like I shit you not, I probably get through like almost a bottle of Frank's a week. It's bad.
A bottle of Frank's a week.
It's bad over here. I need help.
What do you mean?
It isn't that bad.
What size bottle?
These ones, the ones like this, about the same size as my torso.
Shut up. Just the ones you find in the store, you know, same size as my torso. It's just you don't just see them there, you know.
No,
size bottle.
I don't get through a bottle a week, but no, it's like they're only like this big. Right, same size as my mic, for about this big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's good, man.
I can't count that. Okay, that's good. I mean, it's quite interesting because I was discussing this, and I think I would probably land on sriracha. You know, I think
sriracha's good.
I'm capping sriracha. You know, I think it says a lot about a person. I think this could be a new I'm working on like a scale, you know, like one of the most popular personality tests. No, I would say the definitive popular like personality tests in like the actual research field is
Mm.
ocean, as in the sea,
Yes.
openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, openness, and neuroticism. I'm saying fuck it. Ketchup, mayo, sriracha, Franks, maybe reggae, barbecue. Because do you know what I think? Do you know what I think? I'm going to say it, and I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry if there's anybody out there that falls into this bucket. But I think if barbecue is your favorite sauce, you're scum.
Yeah,
Like,
but the thing
I'm
is
sorry. It's
there's so many types of barbecue. You're being very general here.
it is there though. It's all just sugar. It's just fucking sugar.
Have you ever had honey? Have you ever had a barbecue called Sweet Baby Ray's?
Yes, I
It's
have.
good.
Yeah, it's good. It's
It's
peppery.
good.
It's very nice.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, but yeah, I do agree. Barbecue is you're a bit basic if you like barbecue. If you're out here and I'm having a fucking meal with you, and you dunking your chips in barbecue sauce, like we got a
Yeah.
problem, mate. That plate's going out the window. Like you're not. Yeah,
Dunking your steak in barbecue sauce. Do you
yeah.
know? Do you know how offensive that is to me?
It's very offensive.
It's
The
not
only
okay.
thing steak should be dunked in is peppercorn sauce.
Peppercorn sauce. I'll let you off with a bit of bechamel. You know,
Bechamel,
I'll
really?
let that slide.
Okay,
Yeah. That's like if you go to a fancy place, I'll give you a bit of bechamel. You know,
okay.
English mustard. English mustard might be a very close second. I love English mustard.
English mustard is pretty good. Yeah,
Very patriotic of me. You know,
yeah. No, it is good. Um,
bit Coleman's.
yeah, you love bit of Coleman's. Yeah, I only have small amounts of it, but it is good.
And it's just the thing is, someone. This is an Xbox podcast. The thing is, someone who
It's
says
been our
barbecue sauce is
longest
their
segment
favorite
so
sauce.
far as well.
The thing is, someone I'm gonna have to make a timestamp for this, like as an actual topic. Somebody who says the barbecue sauce is their favorite sauce, they have it on fucking everything. Like it's not like when I say sriracha is my favorite sauce and I have it with the appropriate meals. Someone who says it's their favorite sauce has it on like a cheese toasty. Yeah, like they have
Fucking
it
cereal.
on put it in your soup. You know, it's like, oh fuck off. Like seriously, this is not
They like
right.
boil some like plain pasta and just like mix it with barbecue sauce.
I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. Oh my god! Wow. All right,
Oh.
sorry everyone. We've learned a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I did what I said it was the last honorable mention, but I forgot I wanted to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 a little bit because I'm just scrolling through X, not pornography.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm talking about the old Twitter.
It's good branding,
and I've seen, yeah, it's very good. It's just genius that. And I've seen Forbes has put up an article. Paul Tassi over at Forbes, Microsoft's Xbox Series S parity demands are now handing Sony free wins. We kind of touched on this last week, but it's still an ongoing conversation. And I think what makes it worse, Tim, if you didn't know, Baldur's Gate releases on the PS5 on the same day as Starfield. So I just kind of wanted to hear what you thought about all of this.
I mean, I still think that we touched on this last week, didn't we? And I think I came to the conclusion where, as much as I do feel like Baldur's Gate will get a decent amount of sales and a good amount of sales on PlayStation, I do think that the audience that those sort of games appeal to, they're primarily going to be a PC audience. I think that they're into that kind of game. So I don't think. I don't know, man. I don't think it's that bad. If you know what I mean. I don't really know.
Yeah, I am with you. I am with you, but it's tracking quite well as on pre-orders on PlayStation right now. It's tracking higher than Spider-Man. Spider-Man's further out, so fair enough, only by a month.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think it's hit the level of critical acclaim where it becomes kind of uh, it hits mass, in the way Elden Ring did.
It just becomes
Elden
like
Ring
a
is a
must buy.
95. Yeah, Elden Ring is a 95 on OpenCritic. Baldur's Gate is a 97. Just to put that into context, right? Tears of the Kingdom is a
Jesus.
96. So Baldur's Gate is currently one of the best rated games of all time. I don't know if that will slip as it comes to console and people do reviews, but I imagine most of the reviews are going to come out on PC first. Maybe this is a tactical move. This is 38 reviews in now. If there was
Yeah.
going to, it might come down to 96 or maybe 95, but either way, this game is holding at an incredibly high number. And I just think games like this that hit such high scores will chart quite well regardless. I think you're right. The nature of the game, the CRPG-ness of it will stop it from hitting numbers that Starfield will, as long as Starfield, gets into a certain range of quality, like 85 and upwards.
Mm.
But so it continues to be a bit of a problem. It's become a bit of a console war talking point, annoyingly. Oh, Series S, this and that. Series S stole my money, robbed my family, killed my dog,
I
ate my
mean,
pasta, stole my lunch.
but then you could also argue the point, whereas if Xbox were on track at the same point PlayStation was to get this game out, would it have shared a release date with Starfield on Xbox as well? And then realistically, sales probably wouldn't have been crazy high for Baldur's Gate, right? If that's the case, if it's sharing a release date with Starfield on the same
Mhm.
console platform, um, I'm sure Baldur's Gate is fantastic and everything like that, but I think generally Xbox audiences they're just going to go for Starfield, right?
Yeah.
And no one's going to be able to juggle both of those games. Like I think that's asking a lot. Like those games, they're games that shouldn't be juggled as well. Whether or not you can or not, I feel like they're
Yeah.
games that deserve your full attention.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you need to eat. Like, don't forget to eat,
exactly.
gamers.
I've
With a
done that
capital
before.
G. Do
Yeah,
not. Yeah.
it's rough.
You cannot photosynthesize off the screen. Don't
Well, you
believe the
can,
lies.
but only
It
for
won't
so
work.
long.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not a long-term solution or strategy.
yeah. You can go 2 days without food. I recommend 2 days. Don't go any longer.
Yeah, I advise 2 days. And that's how you should live your life, really. Don't eat for 2 days, binge game, eat lots of pizza, maybe like fried chicken, 2 days
Yeah.
without eating, and you just go through that cycle until your heart stops very, very fast and painfully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the way I want to go out.
that's our advice. That's our medical recommendation. So yeah, pretty bonkers stuff. I kind of think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win Game of the Year now. I don't think Tears of the Kingdom is going to win. I can't believe I'm saying that.
I think it will snag it as well. Yeah. It has like this just charm to it. I don't know. And I'm just seeing it everywhere because it seems so crazy, like some of the quest lines and some of the shit you come across. Like I'm just seeing it like sort of just go viral like everywhere, just like when I'm scrolling TikTok and stuff like that. Yeah, it definitely it just has Game of the Year feel to it, doesn't it? Like it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit reminiscent of the Elden Ring discourse as well when it comes to high reviews. Because I don't know if you remember at the time, there was like a bit of a weird pushback that because Elden Ring was a 97 for a bit and then it did come down a few points.
Mm.
But there was a bit of a pushback of like, oh, it cheated the review system, and the argument was that the people who are most likely to review Elden Ring are people who are Souls fans. So there's this kind of argument that if there's a niche game and then the studio does a blowout version, a blowout sequel that blows it open and tries to make it more accessible, it's still going to be the niche audience that plays the game and reviews it and therefore gives it a higher review score. And I think if you are, if you do subscribe to that belief, I think you could make the same argument here that CRPGs are very niche. I mean, maybe they're not anymore. I don't know. I don't answer to that, but those are the people who are reviewing this game right now. And I'm just curious if that will change when it comes to console. And maybe it does, maybe it blows the lid off CRPGs and all of a sudden, well, hey, Classic RPGs are back in the mainstream now, and we like point and click, but I don't know.
How's the user score reflecting over the critic score?
Very good. I don't use Metacritic all that much, so I'll have to check, but it's doing very good from what I remember. Oh yeah, I forgot Atlas Fallen came out. RIP.
What came out? Oh yeah. Oh,
Atlas Fallen.
isn't Armored Core 6 like right around the corner as well?
Yes.
When's that out? I don't even know.
It's out
18th? Is it?
I think it's out at the end of the month. This month.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's coming out in August.
Nah. Don't say that to me. Don't say that
Rise
to
of
me.
Rubicon. Yeah, delicious. Yeah, 25th of this month. Coming out in 12 days.
Right. Brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah, that's getting put on the back burner. But yeah. See how it scores. To answer your question, Tim, Baldur's Gate 3 on PC is a 9.1 user score.
Okay.
Compared to a 97 Metascore, so still very, very high.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see. Overall, I think you're right. Starfield has a more mass appeal approach because it is this kind of first person or third person experience. That I think most people on console would choose to play over Baldur's Gate anyway. And I also think you're right that to a degree, there is a bit of a conspiracy that the Xbox version got lower priority, because it's the whole split screen on Series S that's supposedly the problem, because they knew that even if they couldn't make the launch, they could just launch it later in the year, beginning of 2024, when it's clear of Starfield. And that would be better for their sales numbers. There is a bit of a conspiracy about that. So not that it's intentional, just that it was just like, well, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we don't make the Xbox One, because so let's prioritize the other stuff because Starfield is going to be a blockage to sales.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what I feel. And that's why I think they, as much as it still was a hard pill to swallow for them to make the call to obviously not just release it on Series X and not on S and all that and just delay the whole thing. I think that argument probably did pop up where they're just like, it's great, sure, but like it would also be sharing a release date with our little baby, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure that argument came up at the table, and it's still a tough decision to make. But yeah, I think they just I think they still arrived at the correct one, and I do think it is going to hurt them in terms of the whole console war argument and sales and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I still feel like it was the right call, I think. Otherwise, it just opens up a whole fucking can of worms, doesn't it? Can of worms we don't need. The whole 2 consoles and all that stuff.
I'm with you. Yeah, difficult call for sure. Not one I would like to be making. It's just a bit unfortunate. So, finally, on to the main story. What you're here for, I imagine. We're talking about Avowed. We're talking a lot about Avowed. I've got a lot to say about Avowed, Tim. So what I would like us to do for this is, if you could, because I did this to gather the information and the screenshots and some of the talking points, it's just to go to get the gameplay up that we got from the showcase. You'll be able to find a standalone version. It's, I think, 3 minutes long, and play it on the slowest fucking speed that you can. I think it's 0.25.
Okay. So what showcase?
Wait, just the Avowed gameplay. If you just type Avowed gameplay, it should pop up the segment that was in the Xbox showcase this year.
Gameplay.
So
2 months
while you
ago.
do that, yeah, sounds right.
Why have none of them got? Have they just removed the timer thing from YouTube thumbnails? Just say how long the video is. That a thing? Oh no, here it is. Yeah, 2 minutes 30, or I've got another one at 4 minutes 17.
Just do the official gameplay trailer.
Okay, yeah, it's from Obsidian. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna need to mute this real quick. Oh no, it really is pre-muted. Very nice. All right.
Nice.
Okay. Slower speed that we've got.
Slow that shit all the way down. Yeah, 0.25.
Okay.
So sorry, audio listeners. We'll do our best to describe and talk about what we're seeing and what we mean. Video listeners, now's a good time to look at the screen if you want to sort of join in the conversation around Avowed a little bit, particularly this one, because it's interesting couple of conversations here that we've got to have about the game. Because there's been a couple of developments. As a bit of a primer for the topic, Obsidian has been doing a documentary, a 5-part documentary. They've been putting them up on YouTube. They've been really good. And the final one came out this week, the 5th and final, when they spoke about, stuff that's recently come out, Grounded, Pentiment, and Avowed. And the studio head, well, a lot of the team got to speak about the game a little bit, but the studio head, I'm never sure how to say his name, Fergus Urquhart. I mean, that sounds like an RPG name. That's
Fergus Urquhart. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it sounds like one of those characters you like role play as. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Said that, in his journey Obsidian, there are lots of decisions he's made that he feels really good about, and there's lots of decisions that he feels not so good about. And one of the ones that he feels not so good about is that early on he was really pushing for Avowed to be a multiplayer game. And the reason for that, it was because when they were still independent, they were looking they felt like they needed that extra oomph, that extra selling point for publishers, and it was really, popular at the time. He didn't say that; that's my interpretation. Given they were acquired in 2018, they were probably pitching around 2016, 2017. And he said that as they kind of got further and further into it, they kind of realized it wasn't quite coming together, and it was a bit out of our wheelhouse. I'm paraphrasing. And so we ended up just going back to what we're good at doing.
Thank God.
So this is, obviously really interesting. Avowed started as a multiplayer game, and we have heard this in the form of rumors. I think Jez Corden spoke about it over at Windows Central. What are your thoughts on that, Tim? Avowed starting out as a multiplayer game? Are you happy? Let's just say co-op. They didn't expand, so we don't fully know the extent. But is this a good thing to you? Is this a bad thing? Where are we at with that?
What, just the fact that it started as a co-op and shifted?
Well, if yes,
or just imagining it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just any of it.
I think I'm happy with it. It's hard to say because you don't know what the final product would have been had they kept it co-op. But I feel like they obviously hit some pretty obvious bumps in the road that didn't quite work for the type of game they were trying to build, or just the style that they're used to, like you said, like just Obsidian being Obsidian. So in that regard, and based off track record and how they've made their previous titles, I think it's a good thing that they moved it away from co-op. And that is tough for me to say because we are big fans of co-op games on this podcast. Like, me and Deck love a co-op game. If we can play any kind of game together, we would, ideally. But I do think for the sort of type of game I think they're going for here, with this sort of high fantasy Skyrim-esque kind of world, but putting their own spin on it, they're more sort of I guess jovial, I guess, is quite a good way to describe Obsidian. They tend to be a little bit more upbeat and a little bit more colourful than other types that do these type of games.
It definitely can be. They have it in them.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing that they shifted away from it. How it's affected the development and potential wasted time or anything like that, I'm not too sure. Because taking a pretty major shift in a game can be quite, it can be quite hurtful to its development cycle and stuff like that. But I don't know, and maybe that's
so young, Tim.
Oh, here we go.
What a great point.
Here we go.
Great point you've made.
I've hit a bullet point Dex had listed.
What a great point you've made. You might be thinking, wow, what a good point from Tim on the Quick Resume podcast, our own Tim.
Mhm.
When did it pivot into multiplayer? Should we be worried? When did
I
it
imagine
pivot
quite
into single
early.
player? Should we be worried? Could this have affected the framework of the game? Is this a problem? This has happened with other games before where they've started as multiplayer games and gone to solo or vice versa, and it's messy.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've got a timeline for you
Oh, let's go.
fucks. Yeah, I did the research. I hardly as anyone has seen this thread, and this is one of my most read. Like I did this Twitter thread. I did the research. I put in the hours. It's
Probably
blood. It's sweat. It's a repetitive strain on my fingers and
mainly
wrists.
sweat, I'm sure, but yeah.
Yeah, man, I am very sick. So yes, there's a lot of sweat right now. So I do have it in the notes, but you just leave the gameplay on screen. I think that's for the best. So
Yeah.
this is what it means. They said they were pitching the game before acquisition. Xbox acquired Obsidian before. Xbox acquired Obsidian in 2018. So that means they were pitching the game around probably 2017.
Mhm.
I'm going to be loose with some of these estimates, all right? So at a guess, that means early development and pre-production started as early as 2016. They said that they were showing off a gameplay slice around that time to publishers. So they had some of the game ready. It's probably quite early, but they had some of the game ready. So that would mean in total, the game's had about a development cycle of about 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
We're looking at a launch in 2024. The game started in around 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
That's a long development cycle. For Obsidian, it's probably their
extremely
longest
long.
developed game. Obviously, we're accounting for COVID a little bit. Obviously, we're accounting for a change from co-op to single player.
Mhm.
But I think what we can kind of take away from it is that Avowed is probably a very big game. We've heard before that it's more comparable now to the Outer Worlds than Skyrim. We've also heard that one of their devs on one of the RPG forums has said, I don't know if it's more like the Outer Worlds in an Obsidian sense, but it's a big game. Like it's
Yeah.
bigger than the Outer Worlds, which would make sense. It's in line with the timescales of how long the game's been in development. And we also know that a lot of publishers must have been very impressed with what they saw. The rumor was that Xbox bought Obsidian because of the demo that they saw
Oh, really?
for Avowed,
Okay.
which would have had co-op at the time. It's also kind of interesting because what Fergus said on the documentary was at the time they were asking for about $70-80 million for the budget.
Mhm.
That's quite a modest budget. We don't know how that's changed. For reference, Skyrim at the time was about 100 million. Red Dead 2 is suspected to be around the 200 to 250 million. So that was at the time. We don't know how that budget has increased since the acquisition. I imagine quite a lot with the extra years of development they've been afforded and stuff like that. So, final takeaway. The pivot from single player, multiplayer to single player probably happened around 2018, maybe just afterwards. So ultimately, the bulk of development has been for the single player version of the game.
Mhm.
The 2020 reveal trailer, the CGI one that we saw with the arrow and the sword and the hand spell, that didn't indicate any sort of co-op components. So I think it's safe to assume it happened a bit before that, probably around the time of the acquisition in 2018. That's kind of what I've come.
So you're thinking
to,
like a couple years potentially from its first, it being first conceived to the point now in its cycle, it was probably a co-op game, which is not that long in the scheme of things, because when you sort of draw up a game and an idea and concepts and art and all that, that's all considered part of the development process, I'm sure, right? So like I can't imagine actual development effort went into the co-op build of the game. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm definitely more on board with how it is now, and I think it plays to their strengths, which is obviously something that I'm actually glad that they notice internally as well. I think that's a good sign, rather than someone externally making this decision for them.
Yeah.
I think it's a good sign that they looked at it and they were like, yeah, we like it. The idea is great. World's great. I love the whole magic feel we're going for and everything like that, but I just don't think it's quite us in the sense of co-op, so let's just pivot this in a different direction. I think that's a good sign. So but yeah, I mean, how what's your take on it? I imagine similar, but
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm really glad. It would have been so touchy after Redfall. It would have been
oh
so
yeah, I
touchy.
forgot about Redfall.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
that would have been
doing
rough.
co-op out of their wheelhouse, like, oh, we would have gone back and forth of like, well, they've done Grounded and that was really successful. They did co-op really well there. But ultimately, I
Mm.
I mean, and it is doable. Like, more and more there are RPGs pulling this sort of stuff off. Baldur's Gate as co-op, and maybe I think it's a bit different for classic RPGs, Wasteland as well. It didn't really distract from the experience, it being co-op. I
Mm.
don't know about these first-person RPGs. I can't think of an example, where one of these games was co-op.
So would they
But
have kept?
yeah,
I'm just interested to think to cut you off or anything, but like, would they have kept like the
Sure.
similar like character dialogue situations? But how would that work co-op?
Exactly,
When you talk to someone, would you
exactly.
like both vote on an option to pick, or
Voting.
like, yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like that could slow down a lot of the game, or like, because a lot of the time when you make games like this co-op, it really takes away from the story, right? Um, because you're there, you're fucking around with your friend and stuff like that. I I know from experience playing co-op games with you can sometimes be the most horrific experience ever.
Thank you.
Specifically
Thank you.
Far Cry, where you spend 90% of your time and just figuring out the most creative
I've
way to
grown.
blow me up.
I've grown. I'm a better person now.
Like it got to the point and I was so frustrated playing Far Cry with you sometimes. Um, but yeah, like, so how would all that work? Like, did they even have that, or did they have it? But yeah, like we said, was just like a voting system. I mean, I know you don't know the answer, but like, just like speculating, it just doesn't
Yeah.
work
I mean, that sounds
co-op,
right to
in
me.
my opinion. But
And that sounds right. You think it like, for example, think about Baldur's Gate, I think about Wasteland. That is what those games did, and they were very well reviewed. And nobody seemed to indicate the co-op took away from it. Felt quite additive. So I think
mm,
it is doable. I think you can do that sort of stuff, co-op, and it is in the vein of D&D, isn't it? You make decisions as a group. Like,
yeah,
it is doable. It's just I'm glad that they are. It just wouldn't have been received well. Let's face it. It wouldn't have been received well. The game would have had rampant negativity up till launch. And generally, I think co-op games get reviewed worse. Generally,
mm,
I'm not, because they're bigger projects. They're harder to manage. And then
yeah,
some people. Oh, it's hard making a game that's really good single player and also really good co-op, because the best co-op games are the ones which are designed with co-op in mind, in which
mm,
case single player is typically a bad experience. So it makes the reviews always watered down a bit. So yes, I'm really happy they made the change and just focused in on Obsidian shit. If they want to do some experimental smaller projects around a small co-op RPG, go for it. But for their biggest game with their biggest dev cycle, yeah, I think this needed to be a single player
mm,
RPG.
agreed. Yeah.
And just for reference as well, the other interesting comparison I found was that Outer Worlds dev cycle, it began development in about 2019 and launched, sorry, in 2016 and launched in 2019. So it was about a dev cycle of about 3.5 years,
Mm.
i.e., Avowed and Outer Worlds started at around the same time, and Avowed is
Oh,
still
okay.
going. It gives you a sense of how long it's been cooking for. I'm anticipating this game is going to be very big. We keep talking that Avowed's been de-scoped a bit. I'm not sure. I think the team decided at some point it's been de-scoped in the sense no co-op. We're not going to have that feature. And I think they decided at some point we're not going to do a sprawling open world like a Bethesda game, which I think was on the. They didn't say that. This is just rumors still, but it seems like maybe that was on the agenda at some point.
Mm.
And I think that's fine. God of War isn't an open, sprawling world like a Bethesda Game Studios game. Nonetheless, it's these connected open areas, which is what Avowed is doing. So I think once we start to see more of the game, I think some of these mixed feelings will start to dissipate. But because the trailer didn't really do anything to dispel any of those rumors. So, but yes, I'm really glad that they have doubled down on what Obsidian do very well.
Give it a direct. Give it a direct.
Give it a direct.
Show me more
Show me more.
in a
So this is
different
so
format. Okay.
in a different format, yeah. So, like, just out of interest, while we've had this trailer running in the background, Tim, and any viewers as well, if there's anybody watching live, what are your thoughts? What are, like, do you have any thoughts, or what are you thinking watching it kind of frame by frame? I'm really interested to hear what you think, because like I said, I did this as some research for the trailer and the thumbnail and stuff, and I came away with a few extra thoughts than I had before when I just watched the trailer standalone.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Watching it in like slow and watching like all like the animations of like casting the spells and like just the animation. Like I noticed he like pulled like the spell from the book on one of them. There was like a
Yeah,
trail of him pulling it from the book and then flinging it. Um, I'm noticing a lot of these things now where I didn't notice it when I actually like watched it at real speed. And yeah, you can
yeah,
definitely tell there's quite a lot of nice attention to detail here. And I feel like weirdly looking at it at this slower speed and analyzing it more as well, like the colors are really popping for me. Like this game is so fucking
gorgeous.
colorful. It's so
Yeah,
colorful. Um, yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more. And it looks to me like watching it again, graphically, it's actually looking better than when I
good.
remember.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like I feel like it's actually
Exactly what I thought.
graphically uh nicer than I remember it being when I first saw this. Um
Yeah,
yeah, looks good,
my
man.
thoughts
And
exactly.
the enemy designs are great. Like all of them are really, really cool. Um so yeah. No, I'm pretty
Great.
hyped watching it like this.
Yeah, I'm it's exactly what my thoughts were, and as well, one of the things I noticed actually is that the texture work is really good across the board.
Mm,
Like, there's a lot of detail in a lot of the environments, which I just hadn't picked up before. I think the way they cut the trailer was just that it was quite quick, and you didn't really get a sense for these sorts of things. Don't get me wrong, you know, there's still a year of development time from when we saw the direct until it releases, probably, you know, speculate.
yeah.
Second half of 2024, probably. But even then, this game looks ready to go. The lighting looks great. I think these environments look so pretty in a way that I
Mm,
didn't notice before.
yeah.
Um, and you might remember that one of the big things people were thinking after the direct was like, "Oh man, this looks like a completely different game from what we saw in the CGI trailer." You know, it's not as dark. It's not as
Yeah.
dark. Blow the candles out. Turn off your Hugh Phillips light, smart lights. You
That's
know,
true, man. No one likes colors in their game. Give me beige.
brown,
Give me brown, and yeah, give me beige. Yeah, give me beige and
fucking
brown.
beige barbecue sauce games. Fuck off.
Yeah, we're gonna call fucking like brown monotone games barbecue sauce games from now on.
Yeah.
So
Sweet baby beige.
nice, dude. You're on fire with the barbecue sauce
Thanks.
puns.
Yeah, no, I have. Thanks. Um, yeah, so I thought it was really fascinating. So if you wouldn't mind, just pause the video, and you'll see on the notes I've got two links. Click on the second one, about the tone change. So again, any of the watchers, you've got the luxury of seeing my comparisons from my tweet here. If you're a listener, you can go and check my Twitter. You'll see it there, or come by onto YouTube so you can see the comparisons as well. Because what I found, um, compared to the original CGI teaser that people felt that the showcase gameplay did not represent, was that actually there was a lot of scenes in there that absolutely did reflect that. It's just that they, to be fair, tended to be smaller. Like they were cut quite short. Um,
Mm,
but no joke, some of them are like pixel to pixel level of darkness. And the little bits of vibrancy from the fauna or the spell or the sword glowing.
mm.
Um, Let me just check so I can see what you're seeing on the stream.
I mean, I'm literally just I clicked on your link. I've just got your post with one image.
Oh, if you click out of that, you should see. I've replied to myself.
Oh,
Um,
ass, dude. Hang on, give me a sec. How does this work?
I just took. Yeah, this is a non-Twitter user at work here. Sorry, non-X user.
Sorry, I don't know if I press back here, it doesn't
Sorry,
take me back.
Oh, well, this is just sad, isn't it? Okay, hang on. Let me find you.
It just
Let
asked me
me
to
get
log
you
in. I don't want to log in.
No, that's totally fair. Okay, here we go. This link should do it for you.
All right. Whack it in.
But I hope you've all taken a mental screenshot of the image Tim had up there, which was from the CGI teaser in 2020. These are the comparison shots that I sort of took as I was going through the trailer in really slow speed that I thought were kind of also reflected the same tone of that original teaser. Because there are a lot of them. It's just a lot of them went by quite quick.
Okay. It's not loading. Come on. Come on.
And also this one. It should all be in the same thread, but you'll see.
Yeah, I can see images. Yeah. Like 4.
Yeah,
5.
so if you just flick between them.
You sent me another link, did you?
Yeah. They're all in the same thread. But I mean, are you seeing what I mean?
Yeah, well,
there's certainly areas where they're darker and just like that teaser.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's the final one. So my kind of final takeaway from all of it, from like scrubbing through the trailer and having a look at what looked similar to the 2020 teaser and what didn't, was that it's going to be a really diverse landscape. And we kind of know that already. There are going to be some dark parts, there are going to be some lighter parts. And like I said, yeah, I noticed the texture work was really good. The only thing that I can definitively say that I think needed tightening up from the gameplay we got this in June was the animation work. Some of the animation work is a little bit stiff.
Yeah, there was
some of the first person stuff looks nice, but the guards moving.
There was one moment where I think actually it might have just been because they sped it up in the trailer, but yeah, first person when he kicked the guy off the cliff, the animation seemed very quick. It was just like one frame you were like just had your sword and shield out, and the next frame your foot was in his face. It was just like there wasn't really anything going on there. I don't know if they just made like a jump cut though, so I won't I won't beef it too hard. But yeah.
I think that's exactly it. But yeah, I mean, what's your sense from these screenshots? Is that, are you sort of in agreement with me, or are you feeling actually no, these are still very, very different in tone from the earlier trailer?
No, I don't think so. I think generally speaking, there are, you do see the more sort of like this one I'm on right now is, again, it's giving off that dingy sort of fire lit cave vibes, monster in there and stuff like that. Yeah, it's giving off some gritty vibes and stuff like that. But then yeah, you have others obviously do look a lot more colourful, a lot more sort of interesting, like this one here with all the different kind of plants and oranges and turquoises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
that's
I
gorgeous,
think
that one.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. I do agree that I think the first trailer, definitely the initial teaser, did give off more high fantasy gritty vibes, but then there are definitely parts of it, like I remember when the arrow was like flying over and all that, there was some like purples in there and some colors and stuff like that. Like it definitely didn't give off completely gritty dark fantasy vibes. I don't think the tone has shifted much from that first reveal trailer, in my opinion. So yeah,
great. And just to close the conversation out on my end, just again, like one of the things I noticed scrubbing through the trailer and like when we had it playing it on screen at slow speed, is that the combat looks really solid as well, which which is great to see. Like all the enemies were really reactive. You know, they were like they react depending on where you were hitting them. Every hit made them flinch. Like the spells would have their own kind of effect, and
Mm.
you know, they would react accordingly. And you know, the game's still a year out, so like I'm on rewatching. I'm actually really impressed with what I saw. I did like what I saw originally, but it just kind of happened so fast, and I thought, oh, it looked a bit different from maybe what I saw in 2020. But now I'm not sure I think that anymore, and I'm back to being 10 out of 10 excited again.
Yeah, no, yeah, no. I think the trailer actually had a very similar reaction from me as well. Like genuinely like seeing it again and analyzing it more at like a slower pace and these sort of screenshots and stuff like that. It's definitely increased my my hype for it. Yeah, and oh yeah, I think it's due just to the fact I haven't seen it in a while as well. I mean, Avowed's always been a very highly anticipated game from me, right from the moment we got the reveal trailer. And for me, I don't think that has really dipped. So I think that that speaks volumes into how I saw the reveal trailer to how the game's being displayed now. I don't feel like it's ever really dipped for me, like in terms of being excited for it. It's still very much up there in like my top 3 or top 2 like most anticipated games in like the near future. So um yeah, I think that speaks volumes. So
Great. Lovely. So that's Avowed for now. Super excited to hear more. It's the point of contention for Xbox is like, you know, after this year, Starfield, Forza, and maybe Stalker, which is the next topic. What's next? Is it Hellblade first and then Avowed? You know, my opinion is that it is Hellblade first and then Avowed, but we'll see. After rewatching that trailer, Avowed looks quite
it's good.
far along, so we'll have to see. So, not too much to report here, but man, I don't know how to pronounce this. Koch Media Store, Koch Media Store, Koch Media Store. I
Yeah,
don't know. Has listed Stalker
probably
2
correct.
Heart of Chernobyl for the December 1st, 2023 release. You might think just a placeholder, but most other titles that don't have release dates have placeholder dates of December 31st. They've also previously leaked dates, including Darksiders 2 for the Nintendo Switch. So,
Interesting. A history of leaks.
mm,
Let's go.
that would be quite the closing triple whammy for the year, wouldn't it? Starfield, Forza, Stalker, triple whammy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Stalker was always it was rumored to be this year. I just think everyone just assumed not, right? Like they never said no.
But
They did say they were still
it got-
aiming for 2023, didn't they?
I think it got indefinitely delayed, so just delayed until we say so, basically.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, no, I mean, I was definitely much in the wagon of this ain't coming out this year. So that if it is, then yeah, that's a huge way to sort of close the year. Because yeah, I think Stalker 2 looks fucking great. If I'm honest, the stuff we've seen of it so far looks immaculate. So it's pretty exciting. Whether or not that does actually happen, who knows? But it's pretty nice. 1st of December.
Yeah,
I like
and
it.
and they definitely don't need it if the game needs more time. So I hope
It's probably a
I
no
know they've been
pressure,
quite
yeah, sort of release date.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Xbox has been quite lenient with the team, you know, given Ukraine and all of that. But I hope if they are releasing it, they're releasing it because they're ready, not just because it's been a while, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the sort of game you don't need to rush out. It's the sort of game where you know you can just be like, listen, you know, we got quite a lot of stuff. You know, your game looks great. We still want to fucking, you know, see it come out and market the shit out of it and great, whatever. But like, I do think that it's kind of like a definitely less pressure than the likes of like, you know, your staple Starfield, Forza and stuff like that. That it's just like we need, you know, it'd be good to get these blockbusters out for the year. You know, these are what we need this year. So yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
it's not rushed. Hopefully it's just a nice, like, if you can, then great. But if you can't, then no worries, sort of thing.
Yeah. Great. So best of luck to the team. I hope they are getting out the door soon. I'm sure it'd be nice to put this project behind them. But I hope it's ready to go. It's looked great, and I hope it does well. You know, I'm sure they'll have the whole industry rooting for them.
Yeah.
Okay, final story for the week is around Forza Motorsport. Forza Motorsport's drama, Tim.
Oh my
There's
god,
fucking
no way.
drama. Xbox bad, you piece of shit. Xbox bad.
Xbox is bad.
Yeah, Xbox is bad. I mean, I don't know. There's been a lot of Xbox like community members, you know, podcasters, whatever, who have been quite upset by this news. I guess I'm just not one of them. I guess I'm less invested in Forza than some people, so you know, we'll see. But from what I could tell, the Forza community don't care either. So the deal here is that during the most recent Forza monthly, they showed off a lot of the multiplayer gameplay. They announced a bunch of new features. As part of that, they announced what won't be in the game. I don't know why they did, to be honest. I know they were just trying to be good devs and to be transparent.
Be open, yeah.
But yeah, that they said there's not going to be a spectator mode. This is a design choice because they don't want people coming into the game and taking up a slot that a racer could be in. That's like how it works. You know, if there's like 8 players in the lobby, one of the slots would be taken up by a spectator rather than by a racer.
Okay.
So the reason why that is the case is because they are not including AI in multiplayer. So if there's somebody leaves, it's not filled by an AI. So you just have the racers. You have people racing.
Okay.
So again, design choice. They said. The way they phrased it, though, made it seem like it's kind of an incomplete thing. They said that it's not something we wanted to do, so it won't be in for launch. That was kind of like how they phrased it. So it sounds like they're just leaving the door open to community feedback. That's how I read it. But the interpretation is, oh, these features aren't in. Game's not ready. Game's barely gets 2 pixels running on the screen. Barely not. It's still on paper. This Forza game.
Yeah.
Incomplete. Feature incomplete. And then the big one, Tim. Fucking touchy subject, this, isn't it? Split screen.
Oh yeah. This is a weird split screen is such a weird fucking like void in gaming.
It's like a legacy.
It's just it's something that I do get it. Like I've enjoyed a split screen game in my time, and like I do understand why some people want it, but at the same time I feel like it's just there. It's just clinging on all the time and refuses to be let go. And this whole nostalgia, like you said, like legacy sort of thing. People want this in every game. You know, if it makes room for more different features to come in, I'm definitely up for dropping split screen these days. And giving more time. You know, like I don't know how much time goes into making this run and getting split screen into a game. But if you can spend that time elsewhere and put in a spectator mode or something like that, I'd probably rather have that, if I'm honest. So
yeah. Well, exactly. From my understanding is that split screen is quite resource intensive because you need to, you know, turbo optimize the game to run twice on the console, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this wouldn't, but well, so a couple of things. I guess the first thing I saw on a couple of Forza forums, a lot of Forza like fans didn't even know split screen was a thing in some of the older titles. Apparently it wasn't in all of them. I don't know, so I can't verify. I haven't played them.
Yeah.
But I've also been told that it was only a thing for 1v1 races when it was available. You know, you could 1v1 someone and split screen that. So it's not like you could both go online and play at the same time. It, you know, it was like,
oh, okay.
it was just about there by the skin of its teeth.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And of course, it wouldn't be such a big deal if the Baldur's Gate story wasn't fueled by the Series S not being able to run co-op, split screen. But that was like, that's the thing, because Larry and studios have said like, oh, well, the reason is, you know, the Series S, we can't get it running on split screen, we need more time. So everybody's like, "Oh, Series S is holding everything back." So now the assumption here is that turn turn 10 can't get split screen running because of the Series S, which of course
Hmm.
doesn't seem to be
Well,
the
that's
case. But
complete.
it's the
It's
assumption
complete
everybody's trying to.
speculation at that point. Like, that's
Yes,
ridiculous.
yes,
Like to create so much negative press for something that's just completely just unverified. Like, but hey
yeah.
ho, Xbox bad.
Knock yourself out. Xbox bad. Yeah. On the flip side, Tim, they spoke about a lot of very exciting multiplayer features that they are adding and they are innovating with and they are, doing all these nice things with. A lot of it doesn't mean that much to me, but just to read the bullet points summarized by the lovely Clobrow over on Twitter. Featured multiplayer, competitive racing, full racing weekends, including open practice, qualifying, race, and strategy. Spec series, which is even field playing, an open series, classic Forza, class based, so upgrading your car and stuff. There are
Hmm.
pitting features, Forza race regulations overhauled with machine learning, competitive driver racing, safety rating for clean racing. I
Hmm.
don't know if you know that. That's like a thing in racing sims where people get like pissed at cars hitting other cars
Yeah, yeah.
because it's like not in the
It's
spirit of
frowned
simulation
upon.
driving.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's supposed to be skill,
So
you
they've done
know.
some work. Yeah, that's right. So they've done some work around that, like having ratings based on the safety of your driving. Um, Progression on your car when you play Builders Cup, free play, Rivals, and multiplayer. Rivals mode returns. Don't know what that means, but sounds like it's a whole new mode. And private multiplayer featuring tons of custom game options. I mean, even just one of those modes, particularly the bottom one, private multiplayer with lots of custom game options, sounds like such a good trade-off for something like split screen. Obviously, I don't know how the compromise and the trade-offs work with dev, but that sounds like a much more modern and important feature to have
Oh yeah, a
in
hundred
Forza these
percent.
days.
Yeah, it's yeah, that definitely seems more, yeah, more like up to date, more something you want in the game in this day and age. But like, of course, the argument is, yeah, they'll just be like, well, we have to have two Xboxes and two TVs to play this. Where split screen, it's just the one, and it's just the controller,
Yeah.
and we can both play. So I don't know, like people were weird with this sort of stuff, but I just don't. I've
Yeah.
always felt like every time I've played anything split screen anyway, I'm like leaning forward and fucking squinting to figure out what's going on. I'm like, everything's kind of squashed and my FOV is not nearly as much as it should be. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of split
Well,
screen, but
you don't
um,
like split screen on the portable Switch, but you need a magnifying glass to figure out
oh my god, I've
what's going
tried it. Yeah, it's
on.
absolutely insane. You literally have to be hunched over, like in the screen, to see what you're doing on your
Yeah.
half.
You need to be like ear to ear with the person you're playing with, like
Yeah, not COVID friendly.
touching ears.
Um,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's yeah. I mean, all these features sound pretty great. Like I said, like we said, we're not big Forza people, so like half of these I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know what the hell a Builders Cup is. I don't know what Rival is or any of this stuff, but it sounds great, right? And as Deck mentioned, the private multiplayer lobbies with custom game options, like to me that is fucking leagues above anything that split screen could
Yeah.
accomplish. But hey ho, that's just me, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's this weird thing because Xbox now has quite a few like IPs that it runs. It's been running for a long time. There's kind of this idea that if there was a feature in any of the previous games, it's got to be in every subsequent game. Otherwise, it's feature incomplete. And I just don't agree
Well,
with that
eventually we're gonna get to a point
belief.
where a game's gonna have like 5 fucking 100,000 features. Then
Yeah, exactly.
that's just gonna become not possible to sustain. But
Yeah,
you're gonna
it
have
doesn't
to
make any
make
sense
some
to me.
cuts. You're gonna have to start classifying some features as legacy. It happens in every industry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And again, it's because the Xbox community is particularly jittery about stuff like this because of Redfall. Redfall. Not that it wasn't featuring complete, but it was like the 30 frames thing, and then it
Mm,
was like clearly wasn't ready. And then Starfield had the 30 frames announcement, but there wasn't as much pushback against that because it's Starfield, and it's 4K 30, and it's a very intentional design choice, as Todd said. So that, I can't think of any other examples right now, but I guess maybe Halo Infinite as well. Feature incomplete. There's no Forge at launch. So that it's just, in particular, the Xbox community is just very jittery, especially when the competition, PlayStation, maybe even Nintendo as well, don't have these problems. But honestly, it's because their games are far less ambitious. I don't know what to tell you. They have Gran Turismo, I suppose, which is similar to Forza and that it has multiplayer. But what's the last multiplayer game PlayStation released? What's the last game that PlayStation released that had a single player suite, a multiplayer suite, and then the extra additions that are expected of something like a Forza or a Halo? It's crazy to me, Tim, when I look at some of these comments about Halo, of people being like, yeah, Halo Infinite's nearly feature complete. And it still needs Firefight though. And it still needs a Warzone equivalent. And people will say things like this, like it's a totally reasonable thing that
That's
Halo
absurd.
should have launched like it's 6 games in one.
Yeah,
it's like,
no. They're all nice to haves, and I think that, sure, I mean, more features are only beneficial, but no, that's completely unreasonable to ask that much of a game to have like actual like 5 to 6 different time dump modes,
full-fledged.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, that's absurd. That's absurd.
So that's my thoughts on the
Time
matter. We need to be able to
got?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we need to be able to drop that. Just because a feature was in a previous entry, it doesn't mean that all future entries are going to have that feature, especially if they're not popular. So I'm not seeing a problem here. If I start seeing other warning signs, I'll start ringing the alarm. But for the gameplay I saw looked great for Forza. It looks very polished. They've spent a long time in development, working the engine. I hope that all pays off, and it ends up being one of the best turn 10 are great at what they do for a reason.
Well, I'm sure it will be one of the. I mean, every single Forza, in its respective time it came out, is being considered one of the best driving sims out there. I'm sure this one is going to be the same. They are kind of the best in the industry for that reason. So, I trust that they're making the right calls here. So. I don't think Turn 10 have ever given anyone a reason to doubt them in terms of their decision making for these sort of games. So I don't know why people were jumping down their throats about it. So
yeah, featuring complete, dude. Featuring complete.
Series S can't.
You don't have a monkey tail. You don't have a monkey tail. You're featuring complete.
Yeah. What does the S stand for? Shit in Series S.
Xbox Series shit. We got him. What a great way to round out the show with an absolute corker. If you can still hear our voices over the floods of laughter you're experiencing after that joke, we would really appreciate you to just like the video, subscribe, maybe come over to Twitter. I'm going to wrap this up for this week. X, shit, I keep forgetting. Yeah, come follow us on X. I'm never going to get used to that. It's been a joy. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a bit more Starfield marketing.
Oh, let's go.
And hopefully with some ABK news,
And maybe even some...
I say hopefully the end.
Some early... Because some people do, like, if they get, like, actually, no, they don't, do they? Like, early, like, preview, like, videos for, like, Starfield or something. Like, we've got a review code, and this is what we think so far, sort of thing. Some people do that sort of thing. I don't know how the embargo works, but, potentially we'll see some more. It should be nice to see some more Starfield as well. Like, see some more gameplay.
Oh, dude.
If
you get some time, watch that direct again. It was like a brand new experience. I felt like a new person. I watched it the other day, and I was like,
damn.
I can't believe it. There's no way this game's below 90. Like, there's just no fucking way. There's no way. It's mental.
Yeah, but Xbox bad, dude. I think it's going to be a 76.
Wow, that is a very personal number. That feels like a personal insult.
No. I think my prediction was, as much as I feel like it deserves probably to be over a 9 or whatever, based from what I've seen, I think it's going to settle around an 89 or something. I think it's just going to be just shy of a 90, which is going to suck, but I do think it will be. It's just something in my guts, just saying it.
Probably all that Frank's Red Hot sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go have some of that now. Just drink it. Just have a shot. It's good for the immune system.
It's not. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm not sure
It's
if that's
true. It's true. Everyone have a shot of Frank's. You'll never be ill again in your life.
Jesus. Okay, let's get out of it. I need to go. Tim needs
Bye,
to go
everyone.
self-harm. Speak to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.